Good morning. Will you please stand for the pledge? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we beseech your divine guidance in this meeting. Keep us ever mindful of our obligation. Grant us, dear Lord, wisdom, tolerance, and courage that we may well serve our county and fulfill our trust. Amen.
Amen.
Morning, everyone.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of April 14th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes. Okay, do we have any public comment today regarding pending resolutions? Seeing none, we will move on to resolutions. County Engineer, and I see Dan Becker is here.
Morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
I've got 3 resolutions for your consideration today. The first is approving annual assessments on improvements for the Country Brook Cove subdivision. The second is approving the final plat for that same subdivision in Hinckley Township. And the third is accepting and awarding bids for the Greenwich Road guardrail replacement project. And then our weekly permits.
Move to approve the 3 resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Dan.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Jeremy Cinco, our sanitary engineer.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
3 resolutions for consideration today. The first is authorizing the sanitary engineer to enter into an agreement with Hazen and Sawyer for professional design services for the Liverpool wastewater treatment plant modeling project. The second is authorizing change order number 4 for the Marks Road water main replacement project. And the third is authorizing the sanitary engineer to request qualifications for design services for the Grafton Road water main replacement project.
Move to approve the 3 resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Jeremy.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Steve Sikora from Job and Family Services. Hello.
Morning.
We just have one resolution today for authorizing the advertisement for proposals relating to family peer mentor services for JFS.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we have Holly Murin, Human Resources.
Morning.
Good morning. On our personnel changes resolution today, we have 3 new hires, 2 at sanitary, 1 at solid waste district, 4 rate increases, 1 at senior and adult services, 1 in finance, 1 at county home, and 1 in maintenance, and 3 resignations, 1 in sanitary, 1 in maintenance, and 1 in senior and adult services.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Next up, we have Brett Thomas, our Finance Director.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I have 13 resolutions for us today. Yeah, we got a long one. Several grants and such that are coming through this time. Our first resolution is amending the appropriation measures. There are several increases that are on here that are not actually true increases, but are corrections to the fact that our PO system inside of Munis, when we have POs that expire, they actually create a deficit in the current year's budget, so we have to go back and do corrections for them. So just a highlight on that, several of these increases deal with that and are not actually direct increases. Our second resolution is transfers of appropriations. Our third resolution is expenditure adjustments for various funds. These are mostly related to invoices that got paid out of the wrong departments. Our fourth resolution is revenue adjustments for various funds. We had a couple items that got deposited into the wrong accounts. Our fifth resolution is cash transfers. This is for Medina County Transit. They had received insurance proceeds that are now being moved over so that they can use those for capital for purchasing new buses. Our sixth resolution is for the Board of Elections. They received a security grant fund, so we have to move that and create appropriations for that for the upcoming election in the amount of $10,000. Our seventh resolution is for our Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program, our CHIP grant, for fiscal year 25. That grant is in the amount of $644,000. Our eighth resolution is for the CHIP grant The second part of the CHIP grant for $806,000 for the year. Our ninth resolution is for the Sheriff's Opioid Remediation Grant Fund, authorizing appropriations for $132,036.40. That is directly for medical reimbursement for medically assisted treatment. Our 10th resolution is for an agreement for entering into the statewide consortium of the County Law Library Resource Boards on behalf of our law library with a purchase of $552.52 for the term up to December 31st of 2026. The 11th resolution is expenses for the county engineer going to the Ohio Stormwater Conference in Sandusky. Our 12th resolution is for other county officials. We have the clerk of courts going to the summer conference in Newark, and the prosecutor having legal education in Richfield. And finally, our 13th resolution is our weekly bills in the amount of $1,528,217.99. And now I can be done.
All right. Move to approve the 13 resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next up, we have Matt Springer, our County Administrator.
Good morning.
Morning, Matt.
We have three resolutions. The first one's accepting and awarding bids for medical services at the Medina County Dog Shelter. This is really a group effort from the advisory committee who has been working on the spay-neuter program for quite a few months. So this would begin to provide new services for each dog that enters our facility. Second resolution is declaring excess property and authorizing disposal. This is associated with an EMA trailer that's no longer needed and be made available through public auction. And third and final is approving the Medina County Public Transit contract with ACE Taxi Services. This is supplemental transportation services for jobs and family services for a 2-year period with an option for an additional 1-year extension.
Move to approve the 3 resolutions.
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Matt. Next up, we have department reports. First, we have Matt Straley, our Chief Building Official.
Good morning.
Hey, Matt.
So for the month of March, our report is we're starting to show a lot of progress on bringing in more revenue through the fees. We're up, residentially, we're up 30% in fees, and commercially, we're up 52% on the fees. So, and one of the things I mentioned last month was the discrepancy in some of the home values that we're seeing. I crunched some of the numbers, and what I discovered is that the average cost for a home in Ohio is between $100 and $200 per square foot. We're getting numbers that were about $90 per square foot. So I'm working on a way to try to adjust that to have it a little more accurate. So I'm looking into how to do that. It's mostly for reporting purposes. So, you know, they're not, part of it is letting the general public know they're not being charged for the cost of the home. They're getting charged by square foot. So, but I mean, we had a $2 million house, a 10,000 square foot house. They said it was $114 a square foot. So not exactly accurate. So working on that. Other than that, our focus is, you know, helping the public understand the process of getting a permit. You know, the clerks are constantly on the phone explaining to people what they need to do, where they need to apply to get their permits through. And, you know, Dave Kick, he's doing a great job of explaining to homeowners how they can, you know, build things to make them code compliant without really breaking the bank, or, you know, really helps them out a lot. So that is my report.
Very good.
Good.
Thanks.
And how
Thank
are response times? Great?
Yes, yeah, our response times are.
'Cause I would imagine this is a
around-
busy month.
We're starting to pick up, yeah. So we're still getting them on around 20 days.
Awesome.
So yep, we're good there.
I do appreciate the graphical representation of the
Thank you.
trends, especially as we start going the additional months, kind of see
Yeah.
how that maps out.
Yeah,
So,
it gives a nice visual of
Yeah, it
where
does.
we're at. Yep.
Really good.
All right,
Forever
Thanks.
the professor.
all right, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Next up, we have Bethany Dentler, our Economic Executive Director.
morning. I have a resolution for you followed by my quarterly report. The resolution before you is supporting an agreement between Cobblestone Crossings LLC and the Medina County Port Authority to ensure construction of works necessary for the pending variance requests before the Medina County Planning Commission. I would note that the Port Authority meeting is scheduled on May 6th. Before the Planning Commission meets, we expect to have this complete at that meeting. We've already met with with the developer. We've had our advisors and legal counsel working on term sheets with the developers, as well as preparation of a pre-development ground lease, which would ensure the completion of the necessary improvements.
I will move to approve.
And I'm going to abstain.
Second? Discussion?
I just want to thank everybody that's been involved in putting this together. I know it's been somewhat complicated and unusual, but very much needed and appreciated for all the time and effort everybody has put in to get this agreement going. So I'm hopeful that the Planning Commission will see the value and worth of this, certainly as the intent is to have the Veterans Affairs Development Project move forward as quickly as possible.
Okay. Roll.
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Abstain.
Sweattick?
Yes.
We specialize in the unusual, Steve.
I know.
So, quarterly report. Year-to-date, Medina County's economic development activity is on, I would say, a fairly healthy pace. We've seen an 18% increase in the number of companies that are making capital investments. And so far in 2026, we're tracking $82 million of new capital investments committed year-to-date. I would note that even though the number of projects has increased, the capital investment is about on trend as where it was last year. Those projects are associated with 185 new job commitments with projected annual additional payroll to the county of $12 million. The majority of the new opportunities that have emerged in the first quarter remain in the industrial sector, but we've seen additional activity in the commercial and mixed-use development, as well as site development opportunities, including continued industrial park development. I would say some of the aspirational business attraction projects that we're pursuing are highly competitive, and they depend on our community having site readiness, zoning in place, infrastructure, and workforce availability. So the work that we do every day like this is critical to being able to attract some of these new opportunities. Even with this solid pipeline of projects, the tone from businesses is probably a little more cautious than it was a year ago. So far in 2026, our economic development team has met with 75 companies. Most of those businesses are performing well overall. We do continue to see expansion plans and new investment across the county, but some companies, particularly in manufacturing, are taking a more measured approach as they evaluate cost pressures and broader uncertainty in the economy. Those manufacturers, particularly in steel and plastics, are dealing with significant tariff-related cost increases. Hopefully they'll be among the ones who can get a refund, but there are other tariffs coming in other ways. So this is resulting in a pause in capital investments or delays in new product development. One indicator of perhaps current trends of the business climate is the recent closure of Avcarb Material Solutions, 130,000 square foot manufacturing facility in Sharon Township. I don't know that they had a whole lot of people there in the first place, but that closure it's a signal. It does represent a setback, but it also creates an opportunity for us to reposition a fairly large industrial asset for new investment. That site would probably be prime for some sort of a brownfield redevelopment if it wants to attract a new owner. On the positive side, I'm pleased to report that by the end of April, we're anticipating the payoff of just over $100,000 in loans made by the Medina County Revolving Loan Fund. That will restore some of our lending capacity to serve small business clients that are currently in the pipeline. Most of them are in food-related businesses, and we all like to eat out, so those are good indicators. Our unemployment rates continue to stay extremely low in Medina County. The most recent data available is January 2026, shows an unemployment rate of 3.3%, a little bit higher than 2.9% in December, but it's lower than 3.8% that we saw in January 2025. So we continue to be among the lowest in the state. In Medina County, we currently have 100,200 people in the labor force. It's about 900 more than last January. The latest report shows that 3,300 people are seeking work, which is less than the number of job seekers a year ago. So we still have a lot of work to do to support the talent initiatives of our local employers. As we've reported before, one of the major priorities in our new strategic plan is workforce development and strengthening our connections between businesses and schools. So here's a few updates in those areas. In the workforce category, under our Medina County Manufacturing Partnership, we are organizing a student summer camp in June for middle and high school students to build awareness of manufacturing careers. We were also awarded 15 slots by Ashland University for this year's teacher boot camp. They're kind of going to be back-to-back, students and then the teacher, so it's going to be a busy June. But we'll be able to partner with a variety of companies to introduce the workforce needs that they have to the educators from each school district. I would also note that the Manufacturing Partnership is pleased to welcome Dr. Dale Fortner from Sandridge Crafted Foods to our board. In the pre-apprenticeship program, we are wrapping up the school year with, at this point, we have 250 completions by Medina County high school students, and we expect to finish the year with over 300. Students are gaining valuable soft skill training as well as earning seals towards their graduation requirements. Our career coach has held over 340 student coaching sessions since August. Over the past quarter, we've supported career events in multiple districts, including mock interview sessions, a healthcare expo, and trades and training fair. Mitchell also spent an evening earlier this month at the Career Center teaching employability skills and developing resumes for our adult HVAC students. Mitchell has also been promoting our work scholarship program all year, so we'll be meeting next week as a board to select 19 award winners for this $1,000 grant, which would kickstart the careers of students who have chosen Medina County to work and have already secured a job. A few other updates on our activities. The Medina County Land Bank Board has selected 3 community projects. We were awarded $230,000 in brownfields demolition grants by the Ohio Department of Development. So we'll be getting those out the door. I think some of those projects may have already started, maybe even been completed. So hopefully we'll get their money fairly quickly. We're finalizing agreements for the last $800,000 in the Welcome Home Ohio grants from the first round, which would continue our efforts to support construction of additional affordable housing. We anticipate that by the end of this year, we should have 9 new homes completed. The Transportation Improvement District Board approved 2 applications to the Ohio Department of Transportation totaling $1 million for road improvements in the Brunswick Industrial Park and Cobblestone Crossings Development in Montville Township. I've received confirmation. Those applications are currently under review. We expect to hear about the awards by July, which would be a good sign. In the Port Authority, we're processing reimbursements for existing brownfields grants for several projects in the city of Medina, as well as one in the city of Wadsworth. Some of those are public projects, but I would note that to date, of the grants that we've done in the past couple of years, just 2 of those grants have leveraged $51 million of new private sector investment. So those grant dollars that the state has been investing that we're choosing on a local basis, they do result in reinvestment and new jobs in our community. We're still waiting to hear back on a $750,000 grant request we submitted last year for the redevelopment into townhome in the village of Seville. In other areas of the Port Authority, we were able to hold a special board meeting at the end of March. We approved participation in an ODOT Jobs and Commerce. It's a different division from the TID grant. We're looking at a grant for Lifestone Ministries Road Improvement Project on Route 18 in Granger Township. The state offered a $100,000 grant, which would offset almost 30% of the road project, but they needed a public entity to serve as a fiscal agent, so the Port Authority stepped up. In terms of our events, I wanted to thank those of you who participated in our annual meeting last month. We had some great leadership lessons from the animal kingdom from John Berdanovich. And thank you to Colleen particularly for leaning into our animal print theme. That was very good. But please mark your calendars for our next special event coming up on Tuesday, July 7th, is our summer social at the Blair Center. Since it's so close to July 4th, you can wear red, white, and blue. I think we can go. You can all do that. But we'll have a great evening of networking, and we'll honor the recipients of the County Forward Funds Work Scholarship program. So that's my report.
Thank you so much. Questions?
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bethany.
Thanks.
Great job.
Okay, as far as department reports, I see our county reporter here. Does she have anything to report? No, so nice to see you, though. Happy spring. Okay, I do have a notice, a municipal annexation petition. On April 16th, 2026, the clerk of the Board of Medina County Commissioners received a municipal annexation petition for 4 parcels of land totaling 7.3255 acres, more or less, of land from Brunswick Hills Township to the city of Brunswick. No public hearing is required. The commissioners will review the petition during their next regular meeting on April 28th, 2026. So I believe that was one that was filed, pulled, and now refiled, correct,
Yes.
Rhonda? Yes. Okay, we just have to give notice of that. Right now, we have public comment. Do we have anybody with public comment today? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to discussion sessions. Steve, would you like to go first?
Yeah, first off, I just want to make a comment about the annexation, to make it clear, the reason there's no hearing on it is because the land is actually owned by the city of Brunswick.
Yes.
Just so there's no complication there. Normally, there is some type of a hearing when it comes to private ownership, but in this case, since the city owns it, that the law stipulates that it just does not require that. So, anyway, sorry. I guess I wanted to bring up our solid waste policy, solid waste plan update. I think I've included you in the communication between the city of Brunswick and myself, and Barb, and as well as Adam Frederick had met with the city of Brunswick on this, and we've had communication back and forth. At this point, we have received comments back from the EPA regarding the draft plan, and the next step would be for the policy committee to meet, take commentary into consideration, and then, of course, eventually, I think around August is when we have right now scheduled to release that plan for public comment, and of course, then there's a ratification process based upon that. But one of the issues, as you've seen, dealing with that has to do with I'll just say the request of the city of Brunswick, and I'll say the urgent request, if not mandate, for the city of Brunswick, who basically they disapproved of the draft plan. As you know, we had a technical advisory committee that evaluated it and looked at the various options. In this plan that was adopted by everybody but City of Brunswick on the policy committee, provides for a waiver, an option for a waiver for the City of Brunswick that would be reviewed annually, and that would be throughout that to allow Brunswick with a waiver fee to be able to have their waste go to a different facility than our transfer facility. Has some economic consequences. That's why there's a waiver fee. I just want to point out that the technical advisory committee, when we were reviewing it and looking at all I'll just say all the pluses and minuses of why we would change from status quo, had identified a lot of problems, the cons with it. Allowing, obviously, one city to opt out of flow control. You're setting a precedent. Loss of income, which we've offset with the waiver fee. We think for some of the members, it showed favoritism because there's other communities that are also served that would want this waiver fee. Brunswick has insisted that they will not approve, that they will exercise their veto of this waiver, of this plan, unless they are guaranteed the waiver and for the length of the plan, which is 5 years. And that is something that we can't support. I will point out that at the Technical Advisory Committee meeting, whenever this was considered, this granting Brunswick a waiver, we had 5 votes in favor of Brunswick having that waiver, 4 votes against, and 1 abstention. So literally it was very close. It was a split vote. I voted in favor. We listened to them, their process, that the plan would include a waiver. Unfortunately, I cannot agree with with Brunswick's position on this. It puts us in a very bad position because they've essentially said they will not vote unless we give the mandatory, or basically a required waiver to them without conditions, and other than what's stipulated in there. And I think one of the biggest issues we do have a contract with Rumpke that lasts until 2033. We would have to renegotiate our entire contract with them if we include this. So at this point, our option is the policy committee, and of course, the commissioners also have a waiver of this. We have to approve it, as well as the city of Brunswick has to waiver to approve it. Our option is to submit the draft plan as is and see if Brunswick vetoes it or not, or do we redraft it and eliminate the waiver entirely? I know that there are other throughout the state, and Barb can, I guess, to address that or indicate that to that other communities, other counties are kind of a little bit nervous about us granting waivers from flow control, because we do have debt that's on the facility, and the consequence of Brunswick vetoing it, or us vetoing it, or having an unapproved plan means it goes to EPA. And the EPA then will, of course, hire a consultant and then develop a plan that would have a 3-year life. I
do have a question for you on
Yeah.
the EPA. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But if it does go to EPA, it's a significant thing that we do have debt, correct?
Oh, yes.
They will likely lean towards flow control, correct?
Oh, well, yeah, we have to. You have to have guaranteed revenue in order to pay off that debt, and we've got, I think I've shared with you the amount of debt we have. We actually have debt going all the way till 2044 for the various loan payments that we've had with all the improvements we've made in that facility. All of those improvements, and I'll just say, have been with the assumption, if you will, that Brunswick, up until recently, had been very supportive of flow control, had been supportive of the facility. And so all the debt that was been incurred by the board of directors, in other words, the commissioners over the years, has been with the assumption that we would have countywide. It would all be, and that we would go into debt knowing that we'd have that solid waste coming in and pay down that debt. So that debt has to be paid. So there's no doubt that there would be some flow control. I would argue that the tendency would be to just maintain the status quo, because our plan meets and exceeds actually the state requirements. So there's no reason to basically change status quo other than what Brunswick was demanding. And I'm just drawing the line at we're going to grant them a waiver, guaranteed waiver for the time of the 5-year plan. So
And ultimately,
yeah.
the decision, as you pointed out, of the advisory committee was split on the I guess, non-guaranteed waiver. So taking it a step further and making it a guaranteed waiver, I think it would be reasonable to conclude that the technical advisory committee wouldn't approve that.
It's hard to say without bringing it, but yeah.
I mean, I assume that was probably one of that plus the financial implications was the reason it came out as a compromised proposal in the first place. So a compromise being there's the pathway to a waiver, but nothing that's guaranteed.
I would tell you, of the votes, only 2 voted to remove flow control. 8 voted for flow control.
Right.
So that's, the question is, do we want to create a plan that developed a more defined waiver system, which would allow Brunswick, based on tonnage, to do that? That's where the split.
I mean, the only
The two that wanted to get rid of flow control were literally Kimball and Paul with the service director for Brunswick. So I can say, yes, Brunswick favored getting rid of flow control.
Sure. Yeah, this time around because they've got a
contract
alternative, right?
Yeah.
The other thing, and I certainly haven't participated to the level you have as a member of the technical advisory committee. I've just sat in on 1 or 2 of the sessions, but the other thing that comes to mind whenever we have this discussion is for there to be, you mentioned the financial concessions and things like that, and we've heard somewhat consistently from Brunswick that they would offer some financial concessions to allow this. I still haven't heard what the actual price would be, what the actual cost would be to granting a guaranteed waiver. I imagine it very quickly exceeds the benefit to them of going to their own system. So, I mean, if that would be the other direction I would say that we could go, is to say that, if they're going to make the district whole for the waiver, that would be a compelling argument for something that would be more guaranteed. But I don't think they've made that proposal. I don't know that we've got the mechanism to calculate those numbers down to the penny either. So,
We have built in, it actually into the plan a $15 a ton waiver fee, correct? That's what the plan is.
But I don't
So-
think that's a make-whole price. My point is,
That
I think
is.
the make-whole price should be higher than that.
I think that was a make-whole
Oh,
price.
was it?
Was it not?
It's close, but it's basically going to make.
Hold on one second.
Just a second,
He's
we're
gonna
gonna
get a
yeah.
mic for you.
Sorry.
Sorry.
It was close,
can
but,
hear you fine.
but that also didn't take into consideration concessions or working with Rumpke regarding their contract and the allowance of out-of-county waste,
Right, right.
which we currently don't have. And so there's that balance would
But
have
that,
to.
to me, that would have to be factored into, it's not a make-whole payment if
Well,
it doesn't include
we
that.
haven't negotiated with Rumpke.
Right.
And the question is whether they'd be interested, whether they would. There's a lot of ifs, and that's why this waiver can't be mandated. It would have to be optional and evaluated on an annual basis.
Well, and
Yeah.
again, it's a different conversation if, and I haven't heard this from the city
Right.
of Brunswick, but it would be a different conversation if they said, we're going to, pay the waiver fee and then indemnify the district for whatever that cost ultimately is. I'm sure they're not going to do that. I think that's the point, but.
Yeah, Barb, you were going to say?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that the $15 is what the consultant figured that it would help assist the district with recovering our portion of the fees, but that does not come anywhere near covering what Rumpke's
Rumpke,
going to
right,
lose
that's right.
on our contract.
That's right, correct.
Right.
It doesn't take into consideration what Rumpke was counting on
Right.
as part, when they developed a contract with the county for the waste.
And
They've
that's
been
going to-
guaranteed.
And that's going to
Yes.
inform their negotiations, because why would they?
Agreed.
Forego that guaranteed
Agreed.
revenue? So, and,
Right.
and as soon as you put that into the mix, the numbers for Brunswick become cost prohibitive. So that's why I say I'm certain they wouldn't propose that. But if that were the discussion we were having, I think it becomes a little bit different discussion for the TAC or for us as the board, that you say the outcome of that is cost neutral. Well, then it feels, problematic to just hold Brunswick kind of hostage to the agreement. I just want to make it clear that hasn't been, nobody's suggesting that. The negotiation, Brunswick has a certain number in mind. I don't know that we know the scope of it yet, but they have a certain number in mind that they would be inclined to pay, what it's worth to them essentially to have this other option. But
Well, they were aware of the $15. That's not what they were discussing. What they wanted is a guaranteed waiver
Yeah.
for the term of the plan. That was the two basic points of it. And that was the condition of not vetoing it.
yeah.
So at this point, that's nothing I think we can go along with. I was willing to go along as far as what the plan update called for. Our question is I guess for us as a board, whether we're comfortable with going ahead and submitting a plan, the next step, to the public and for general comment with those two options, or do we want to just stay with the status quo?
First of all, I did want to say that Rhonda had invited Brunswick to be part of the discussion.
correct,
So, we welcome their input today. And I also respect Brunswick's right to make a decision for their own community. But I really feel when I look at the debt and the improvements that we have put in to the whole plan, to the whole facility, that the county commissioners have the responsibility to make sure we're protecting the revenue streams for the debt. And so I'm comfortable with submitting to the EPA.
Yeah, and I don't think procedurally, I believe that they haven't vetoed anything yet. Let's see what happens once that.
Okay.
I expect they will, but I don't see a lot of. I think we should stick with the plan that the TAC has put
Well,
forward.
the TAC and the policy committee actually voted fine.
Yeah.
Except for Brunswick.
Yeah.
Brunswick
Right.
ended up, even though they had, their service director served as the chair of the TAC.
Yep.
And helped guide it, and we were able to get it through with that, and I'll just say our consultant was able to craft something that did accommodate I think reasonably accommodate their
Yeah.
concerns. I think their position is still so hardline that it's difficult for me to understand why they're at least not willing to consider and make some smaller adjustments rather than absolute. mandating that they have to have a guaranteed waiver for the term of the plan.
And I don't think the economics permit that. I mean,
I
that's,
agree.
you know,
I agree.
that
Okay.
because of the unknowns in terms of what the cost is going to be coming back from the, you know, contractual concessions that we know we'd have to make
Okay,
if we
all right.
put forth that plan. I also think that our, you know, our hands are a little bit tied by decisions that have been made in the past because this debt is out there.
Mm-hmm,
We don't really have a light at the end of the tunnel of flow control right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're working through that. You know, go back to when some of those decisions were made, and maybe this group, maybe we would have done things a little bit differently. But this is what we're dealing with right now. So I think in moving forward with what the TAC considered to be the best path forward, I know that doesn't have any bearing on what the EPA will do if it does ultimately get vetoed, but perhaps it can provide a little bit of insight into what the tax perspective
Okay.
was and what the local communities would like to see. Because I do think having some kind of a path for a waiver is a better version of the agreement than the current version that doesn't even have a path for it.
Okay,
So,
all right.
for future flexibility, if nothing else.
So at this point, we'll stay with what the version with the policy committee submitted to EPA with the, complying with their comments for some of the refinement of the data and information.
I think that makes sense.
Okay, so at this point, then we'll schedule, Barb will schedule a policy committee to confirm, here within the next month or two, confirm that version that'll be submitted for public comment, and then the process of ratification after that. So, okay, very good. Wanted to get guidance on that. All right, thank you.
Anything else, Steve?
No, I don't think so, other than, you were going to bring up the metro, so, yeah.
Aaron?
I'm too eager to talk about the Ohio EPA, so I'm going to defer
Oh,
to you.
I'm so
Yes,
glad.
yes.
Okay, so, all right, we do have a housekeeping thing first. Since we are new members of the Budget Commission, commissioners have a seat, we really haven't, Rhonda did, started some research where we got an answer as far as an alternate. So the choices pretty much are one of the commissioners or Matt. It's pretty clear that it should be either one of the commissioners or Matt. So I just didn't know whether you just wanted to make it policy that Matt is the alternate or the vice chair of the year as the alternate. I don't, it's just.
The concern, though, is a lot of the meetings are on Fridays, and so there's conflicts
Yeah,
with
and I'm
CCAO
hoping maybe
and
we
WAC,
could change that. I mean, now
Yes.
that we're a member, I
I-
would love to put in a request to the commission to change to the fourth Thursday, because since the commissioners have a seat now, we have so many conflicts on Friday. So I think it would be great if we could submit a request to the Budget Commission to go to the fourth Thursday instead of the fourth Friday. Or the third Friday, is it the third Thursday instead of the third Friday? And it's a whole different situation now that we have a seat. So I think it'd be great if Rhonda put that request into the commission.
Given
and
the,
then-
given the new authority of the expanded authority of the Budget Commission, I'm more comfortable with an elected person there.
Okay, so
No
then-
offense to the county administrator.
Right.
But I
Oh, I'm
think
sure
we-
he's thrilled.
I really think it needs to be someone that's elected,
it.
answerable directly to the public.
So-
I would recommend it be the vice president, which case
So
would-
two
this
things,
thing would
maybe
be, yeah.
Rhonda can send a request to Kirsten,
Yes.
like, in the future, could we have at least a discussion on moving the meetings? Because now that we have a seat, we do have a lot of Friday conflicts. And number two, informing the commissioner that the vice president of
Right.
the year will be the alternate. How's that,
Okay.
Rhonda? Thank
Got it.
you. That's a
That sounds good to
housekeeping
me.
issue. So the big issue, we received a letter from the Park District, from Nate, regarding the Wolf Creek Greenway, and they are having some issues with the Ohio EPA on this project, a project that a lot of entities have supported. And
Certainly locally, yeah.
there's grant monies involved, and it really would be disappointing to lose out on all the grant monies and this project. And so Nate is welcoming a communication on behalf of the board to the Ohio EPA. And I would, Brian does such a great job on the support letters for things that we do support. And I would like authorization from you guys to let Brian run forward and.
Can we have Jeremy update us on this? Because he's been following this
Jeremy,
one for quite a
because you
while.
are, the sanitary engineer is mentioned in this letter,
Well, no,
so
this
we
involves
would
us
like,
and our-
we would like to hear from you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so a while back, Nate Epping approached and we had discussion about implementing, putting a like utility pathway between Ridge Road and State Road. Commissioners have a 36-inch concrete sewer main that runs along Wolf Creek that we have access issues with due to the wetness or how saturated that ground gets over there. Over the years, before I started, I've heard stories of equipment being having to be pulled out of the property by the farmer that lived there. So, the idea was to put like an asphalt access utility path in that both benefited us. That's for access and continued maintenance in that area, and then also it allowed for a park pathway for residents to utilize. The EPA is having issues with the impervious pavement that goes in there, along with the wetlands. We had a meeting with them, and it really seemed like you can't. The EPA's view was they didn't want to see it really going, is the takeaway that I got. There was no offering of, hey, well, let's see what we can do to maybe make this work. It just, you could tell by body language that it just, they have no inclination of letting this go through as designed.
From the letter, it sounds like their proposal, if they had one, in as much as they came up with anything, was to let sewage leak into the waterway.
Yeah.
And then fix it?
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
paraphrasing, of course.
yes.
That's how I read it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what they said.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah,
like.
okay.
Raw sewage
Which
leaking
seems like
at
a bad
creating
idea.
crisis.
To me. I'm not a scientist, but that seems like a bad idea.
We always look forward to your E EPA.
Isn't this a project we provided ARPA dollars
This is an
for?
ARPA-funded project
Yeah,
as well.
and we had this.
We have,
And it was a good mutual, it was a good collaborative project, and satisfying both needs of the public being able to have access to a trail, as well as satisfying our access point to an existing sewer line.
Right.
And it's insane to me that the EPA would say, representative would actually be better wait until something leaks, raw
Something
sewage
terrible
leaks into
happens.
Wolf
Right.
Creek before they would allow this to be built.
Into Wolf
And
Creek, which is
that
the city
is-
of Barberton's water source.
That's insane.
Yeah, yeah. So
Details.
to me, that made no sense. And I think the Park District is the perfect project lead on this because it's their property.
Yep.
And they are much more sensitive, perhaps, than, no offense to you, than you would be to
That's fair.
making sure that access preserves. They said no trees are going to be torn down. There's not any native, like protected species in there. It's all invasive grasses that they're going to be paving over, essentially. We're not to paraphrase,
And it's not necessarily the quality of the wetlands, it's the quantity that's
That's
really-
right. That he mentioned that too. So just to clarify that, because this was my understanding of that, it's only a wetland because there's a large area of. So we're taking a portion of an already large area that's a wetland because of its size, not because of its anything unique to that particular path we want to put the pavement on.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is a 50-year-old concrete sewer main, which is susceptible to hydrogen sulfide gas, which essentially deteriorates the concrete there. So the EPA's recommendation was for us to replace that.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that's great, but I still need access to it to be able to flush, maintain.
Right. Now, I think this seems like a perfect example of state bureaucracy getting in the way of local solutions, and even the portion of local funding that we've committed to it. So, in addition to our letter, I think we should make sure that our, State Representative Ray and State Senator Romanchek's office have.
I think they were already informed. When I saw in the letter that
I
they
didn't see
already,
the
their
copy.
offices, not on this.
Oh, okay.
But I think in the email, I saw that he CC'd
Great.
Representative Ray as well as Senator Romanchuk's
Yeah.
office.
Well, I'm happy to.
I think
keep
even
it up.
Max Miller got
I
dragged
believe
into
so.
this one
Okay.
too.
I believe you're
Yeah.
But
correct.
this is the Ohio
Max
EPA
Miller,
that's
too.
the holdup, I
Yep.
think,
So,
right?
but I think I think
yeah, this is the Ohio EPA.
I think we had a
Either way.
strongly worded support with the position of the Medina County Park District on this one.
I completely
Okay,
agree.
Brian will be directed to strongly word. And Brian may call you for some questions on the letter, Jeremy.
Yep, not a problem.
All right.
I'll be
Thank
available.
you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else have anything else for discussion session? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we go into executive session to consider the sale of real property and to discuss the employment of a public employee.
I will second.
Roll?
Hambley?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Sweattick?
Yes. We will not be coming back after. Everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.